to PhenoConcept. Click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. What's up guys, this is Theo from PhenoConcept, and today I'm going to show you how to create this. In Adobe Photoshop. This is basically a simple music flyer, so let's just launch our application. I'm using Photoshop CC 2017, so click on new, and I'm going to set my diameter, change this to pixel, and I'll set it to 1280 by 1280. That's a perfect square. The resolution, I'm going to leave it at 300, and just leave the background at white and hit create. Okay, now the first thing we are going to do is create our background, and to do that we are going to have a gradient overlay. So you could access it from here, or you could just go to adjustment panel, click on gradient, and for the gradient I'm going to change it to think blue and slightly move. So yeah, I think this is okay. We could move with this color code, which is 140296. Hit OK. Now for the ending part, oops, I had to change this from foreground color to transparent, change it to foreground color to background color. So now let's do that one more time. I didn't keep it that in mind. Okay, so let's change this to a darker blue. You know what, let me just open up Notepad and save this in. Okay, so we have this. That's for blue. And our next color is going to be purple. So paste it back in, hit OK, move on to the other side, change this to purple. A darker purple is always nice. So we have this color one more time. So this would be purple. Okay, so let's hit OK and OK, and we are also going to leave it at linear for now. We are going to duplicate this, so holding down Ctrl and press J, or you could also just click and drag over to the new layer, and we'll change this to radial. And now in the radial we are going to reverse it, so we have mauve extending to blue. Then change this to 500 is too much, probably 200. Then we'll bring this up slightly. Now the next thing we are going to do is reduce the opacity, so about 50 should do just fine. Okay, now let's import our image. So file, open. This is the image I'm going to be using. So if you want to learn more about how to crop images, you can learn more by clicking on the screen right now, and I'll also leave a link in the description below so you could follow along. Okay, so as always, holding down Ctrl, you press A, you press X to cut out, you press W to close this workspace here. So Ctrl V to paste it in, and we are going to hold down Shift and Alt, then with our move tool selected, which is right here, we are going to click and drag this towards probably the center. think this is cool, and I'm going to hit OK. Now let's group this. So click and drag this over to the group icon here, then name this image. So you could do the same. You could click on the lock, or you could double click. Either way, it's going to change it to a layer. Group this and call this background. Okay, now as always, I keep telling you guys to save your work, so let's save this as I don't know, music flyer. Hit OK. Now for our image, because we have a darken layer over here, we are going to increase the contrast and add a few exposure to it. So holding down Control, you are going to click on the thumbnail right here. Now you notice you have this selection happening. So we have this with this layer selected. I'm going to click on the adjustment panel and find exposure right here. So for the exposure, I'm going to increase it. You can increase it so you are okay with it. So I think about here should be cool. Now my main concern is over at this portion, the face, not the entire clothing. Those parts we are going to darken them up. So I think +150 should do just fine. Now with this layer selected, or layer mask selected, let's grab our brush tool. Then with our brush tool set to a size of about 50 pixel, let's hide this. We're going to brush over this portion. To make this perfect, we could just select the image here, grab our quick selection tool, then we could create a selection downwards so that we don't accidentally brush over the face as well. So I'll zoom in with a quick selection tool whilst holding down Alt. This is going to switch between the plus and minus. Okay, I think this is cool. Let's just work with this for now. So back to our layer mask, grab a brush tool. Wait, we have to make some selections over at this portion as well. So grab our brush tool, then we are going to brush over these portions. So let's increase this to probably 200 px. Okay, so now we have a brighter top. Then okay, this is merging quite well, so let's zoom in one more time, grab our brush tool, reduce the size to 50. I'm going to change this to soft round. So I'll brush over. Nope, foreground color should be set to black. Okay, I think this is cool. Now let's zoom out, so fit screen. One more time, let's save this. Now the next thing we are going to do is create a few selections from this image. So with this image selected in the layer mask panel, grab your polygonal lasso tool, which is right here. You can right click polygonal lasso tool. Then we are going to create a selection from any part of the image you want. So I'll create a triangle or a triangular selection from here. Right click, go to layer via copy. So with my move tool, now we have a copy of that layer. Let's rotate it slightly. Now this isn't a perfect circle, so let's just go back, undo several times. Okay, now I'm going to click and drag this over to this portion, so we have an entire rectangular selection. Sorry. Okay, right click, layer via copy. With our move tool, we are going to click and drag this here. So let's resize this or rotate this slightly. Again, with this layer selected, we are going to do the same. So polygonal lasso to probably at this portion, layer via copy, grab our move tool, move this slightly here, so this could come up a bit and this could be here. One more time, probably for the arm. Now this can be any shape at all, but I'm more comfortable with triangles rather than rectangles or circles. So move tool, you could always press V on your keyboard to bring up the move tool. Probably here should be okay. So Control S, let's save it one more time. Now let's create a new group on top and name this group text. So we have our text inside. Now let's grab our rectangle tool right here and create a random rectangle. So initially it's set to our foreground color or the previous color we were using. So I'm going to change this to red. Not very red or brick red. So again, I'm going to keep this. Now I'll be throwing in the color codes in the description so you can follow along. So this is for the red, not read. Hit OK. Then I'm going to rotate this slightly. Probably first of all, let's resize this. So now, in case you are not using the latest version of Photoshop, you could always hold down Control and press R. That's going to bring up the ruler or guidelines. Now you could click and drag, and the moment you get to the center, it's going to snap in. So you can have your shapes, images, or text aligned in the center. Okay, now I have the latest version, so I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to hide these. Okay, now this is much better. Again, reduce the size. Okay, now I'm going to type on this. So create a new layer, grab our type tool and type in with the color set to white. Of course, you could also change it from here. I'm going to type in music cover. Now for the font, I'm going to use font called Kilogram and increase the size to about 30. Then I'll go into my character options. If you don't have this, you could always go to window, then you select character or just paragraph. Any of them is going to pop up. So with this text highlighted, I'm going to increase the size slightly, so probably 105% should be okay. And change this to 50 so that they are slightly together. Hit OK. Now I'm going to click and drag this to the center. Again, you could always adjust this, so let's adjust this slightly whilst holding down Shift and Alt, because I want them to be on both sides. Now I think this is okay. Control S to save. Now we are going to apply some gradient over the rectangle we've created. So hit on FX, then on gradient. Now in gradient, you are going to select from dark to white. So we have foreground to transparent, initially it's set to white on both ends because our foreground color is white. So I'm just going to change this to total black here, and no, delete, and black here as well. Hit OK, and I will change the angle to about 135. Then the blend mode to screen. Okay, let me just find a suitable one for this particular image. Okay, I think soft light is much better, so we are working with soft light. Let's try reflected and reverse it. I think I'll just leave it as linear. Okay, now we hit OK. Then let's rotate these two. So holding down Control, I'll click on the music cover text and I'll rotate it slightly. So about here should do just fine. Hit OK. Now I'm going to duplicate this. So Control J, have a duplicate of these two, and I'm going to click and drag this slightly here. Then with the music cover text selected, I'm going to type in the new text, so probably tutorial, and change the font to, I don't know, let's try Century Gothic regular. Again, this time around I'm going to leave it at 100%. Okay, now let's reduce the size of this image, and once we do that, we are going to rotate it to make it fit a little bit more like the first. So click and drag here. And the best way to do this is to duplicate both layers, then once you're done, you rotate them rather than rotating them then duplicating, just as I did. Probably that was an error on my part. Okay, so I'm holding down Control, I'll click on this side and gently drag it over here, so it's going to match this rectangle on top. Okay, now hit OK. Z to bring up our move tool, fit to screen, and I'm going to click and drag these two beneath our cover. So change the color by double clicking on the thumbnail to yellow. Not too yellow, obviously. So this is the color code again, yellow. Okay, hide it and hit OK. Now for our tutorial, let's move it slightly to this portion as well. Okay, again, let's save this up. Now for the tutorial text, you click on it, go to FX, drop shadow. So we are going to add in a few shadow effects. The size, I'm going to leave it at 10, the distance probably 10 as well, and the spread at 5. Hit OK. Then for the rectangle, FX, gradient overlay, and this time around, instead of using that gradient, I'm going to select this preset we have here so that we get a slightly yellow color. So with this one selected, hit OK. You are not seeing the effect because the blend mode is set to soft light, so change it to normal. Okay, now we have the effects over here. You could click and drag this anywhere you want to see real-time effect. So I'm going to increase the yellow a little bit more, and I'm not a fan of the other orange at the other side, so I'll just delete that one out. Okay, now hit OK. I want the yellow to come from this direction, then blend into orange, so I'll just reverse this. Then I want more yellow, so I think this is cool, and just hit OK. So again, let's save this up. Now you could continue with the rest of the text, so probably I'll group this, Ctrl G to group it, and name this main text, then create another group and call it other text. Okay, now for other text we are going to add in the other information. So what informations do we have? Okay, so we have the date, which is 22nd, that's today. So 22nd of December 2018. Anyway, 2017. We're not in 2018 yet. Then I'm going to just add in the time. (1:45 a.m.) Okay, highlight this and reduce the size to about, let's try 12. Move this over to this portion. Now we want to rotate this, so we could just hold down Ctrl to bring up the move tool and rotate this until we are comfortable with it. I'll click and drag this slightly over this portion, and I'm going to highlight this and change them to bold, bolding them up. Then the next test is the location, which we could also add to this part. So I'll just press enter on the keyboard. The location is UMAT. No, not so. Let's just type in any location. In Ghana, and I will change this to regular and hit OK. So basically we are done. If you have any other information, you could add it to this bar. For this tutorial, this is all the information we have. Okay, so just hit OK. Now let's work on our image. I'm going to hide this text right here, and on top of images, I'm going to create a new group and call it light, and in light I'm going to bring up my brush tool, right click, set it to hard round, then go to my brush presets. If you don't have this, you could always go to window, brush, or brush presets, any of them. So I have mine here. For the shape dynamics, I'm going to keep the size all the way up. For scattering, I'm going to keep it up, so all the way to 1000%. Then for, where is the other part? Okay, size jitter, we've already done that. Now as we reduce it, you know that the size remains constant. We want it to be uneven, so let's just click and drag from any portion. Increase our brush slightly, so click and drag from here. Probably we should increase it one more time, so set it to 100 pixel. So click and drag from here. Okay, now we are going to put this below the image. So with this layer selected, this is too much. Let's undo, bring this down. The first part is going to be here, create a new layer. The second part is going to come from here. Okay, now let's hide the first one. So name this left, click on FX color overlay. Now the color we want to use is the blue from this. Then change the blend mode. I wanted to try screen, but color is already white, so this is not going to affect it. So then the next thing is increase the outer glow. Again, the same color, but I'll make it slightly lighter. Okay, then let's hit OK. Opacity set to 50. Then noise, I don't like noise, so noise entirely taken out. Now I want more lights, so let's not try white. Slightly blue should be okay. Again, you could pause this video and copy the color code. Probably should have started like that in the beginning. Okay, so let's hit down the OK up here, and we are going to do the same for the right lights. Okay, effects, color overlay, and instead of blue we are going to be using the purple from the top. Then we change this to purple as well, but lighter. Hit OK on both of them. Save this up. Now we are going to reduce the opacity of both of them. So with these two layers selected, the opacity to about 30. 30 looks way better. Now back to our images. With these cutouts we made, so just probably cut out, which are these ones. We are going to add in effect, so outer glow for all of them. I think this is okay. So what we use for the previous slides, which is this, we're just going to apply it in here. So if you don't have that, you could right click, copy layout style. Let's clear this one up. You could just paste it in here, then remove your color overlay. So this is what we have. Go back to effects, remove color overlay, hit OK, then increase the opacity. So either way you do it, you are going to get the same thing. Probably 80 or 100 is cool. Okay, so let's bring back our text and create some few lightning effects, or not lightning, lighting effect. So hit on group, then we add in effect. And for the first effect, this is something I've been using for quite some time. Again, grab our polygonal lasso tool. I want the light to come from this direction. Okay, so just create this selection over here, holding down Control or double clicking. Go to the adjustment panel, click on exposure, then increase this slightly, so probably 1 for the first part. Then we repeat this, but this time around we are going to create our selection slightly inwards than our first selection. Okay, so right click, exposure probably 0.5. okay, now this is what we are getting. So again, let me save this up. And this doesn't look quite professional, so we are going to blur these two images, or adjustments rather. So hit filter, move to blur, Gaussian blur, then blur them about 15, hit OK. Then we are going to apply the same here, so Control F to apply the previous blur or previous filter you use. Holding down Control, press F. For some reason this is not working. Okay, Alt Control F. So let's apply this one more time. So instead of 15 we have 30 for both of them. Okay, now file, save one more time. Now the next thing we are going to do is let's reduce the opacity, is too bright. So 70 for both of them. And the next thing is creating more light. We are going to create an exposure one more time, but this time around is going to come from this direction. Okay, so again with our polygonal lasso tool, I'm going to select this part. So I have my selection here. Then instead of going to exposure, I'll change my foreground color to white. Then go to the adjustment panel, click on gradient. So it's a gradient, not an exposure. So I'll reverse this so that the light is coming from this direction. Okay, and we going to set this to about 135. Okay, 135 is cool. Adjust this according to how you want them to be. Okay, hit OK. Then I'll duplicate this gradient fill. So one more time. Now for the second one, I'm going to move this. So you could use the arrow keys or you could just click and drag. Anyway, should be just fine. Then do it one more time, so we have 3 layers of them. So this is cool. Now again, reduce the opacity to about 30%. So we have this cool lighting effect over at this portion. So depending on where you want to use it, you could also bring this beneath the image and it's still dope. So let's see before and after. I think I'm going to leave it beneath the image. So group this up, effects, what name should I keep it? Just below. Okay, now in case you're using the latest version of Adobe Photoshop, we could always group these images up. So Control plus Alt plus E, then we have this images merge on top. Then I'm always going to tell you to keep a sample of your images just in case you make a mistake and you want to come back. So filter, camera raw settings, camera raw filter rather. Then from there we could adjust the temperature to make it slightly blue, so -10. Increase the exposure to about 30. The clarity, increase it as well to +30. And I like to increase the blacks and the shadows and reduce the whites and the highlights. It's just something I'm a fan of doing. So negative 30 plus 20 plus 30. So hit OK, and yeah, this is what we are getting as the final product. So thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you disliked it, you could always dislike. As long as you leave us a feedback, we are cool. Comments if you have any questions. Then if you want to see more of this video, subscribe to this channel, give us a like, and I'm going to see you guys in the next one.